Hi, my name is Annie Bryceson. I'm a healer and an intuitive coach, and I'm out of Spokane Valley, Washington. When I was 14, I had a close friend pass away, and it was a really interesting experience for me. When the night that my friend had passed away, some psychic phenomenon around me started happening. My alarm clock was going off in the middle of the night, and it was set for 7 a.m. And there was knockings on the wall, which was very bizarre. And my sister, even in the morning, she said, "Why were you running around all night? Were you up all night? Are you okay?" And I said, "I was in bed all night," because I was upset, but I just laid in bed and cried. She could hear footsteps walking around, and she thought it was me. So there was definitely some psychic phenomenon going on. And when I reached out to a good friend about it, she knew a little bit about spiritual connection, connecting with our deceased loved ones. And she was a young friend too. She talked to me about automatic writing. And so I got out a pencil and a piece of paper out. And you're just supposed to sit there. And I just started writing. And my friend's spirit came through. He came through. And it was really incredible. And he was able to share with me what was going on, where he was at, what was happening, what was going on with the family. And I was able to confirm that with the family too. So that's how I kind of knew, okay, this is real. This is really happening. And that from there just opened the door. Then I wanted to learn more and more and more about how all of this works. How does energy work? What happens when we cross over on the other side? What about angels? What about guides? And I had to wait till I was 18, but as soon as I turned 18, I went and started studying everything and anything I could about energy and healing around the world. I am certified in Reiki, Theta healing, UN healing, crystalline healing. I can't get enough. I got to learn everything. And I've actually studied with a number of psychics around the world. And so it's been an honor and a pleasure to get to know all the different ways that people use energy or help people heal. And I've been studying for the last 26 years. With psychic information, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes when I look at what's going on and into the future, there's more to it than just a simple yes or no answer. And my goal is to make sure everybody can get to their goals and dreams. And if I take a look at if someone wants a psychic answer and it's not quite aligned with where they want to go, I want to stop, pause, look at where their life is right now and see what we can do to help them shift, heal, change whatever the circumstances are so they can move forward and reach their dreams and goals. Well, when someone comes into my office for the first time, what I like to do is first thing is tune into their energy. They'll usually come in with an issue or a problem or they need guidance. And the first thing I like to do is tune into their energy and see what their current state of affairs are. So it's just part of my intuitive gifts. I am able to feel energy and currents. And what I do is I go into someone's energy field and I will not only scan their body, but there's a lot of information around them too. So I like to see what's going on. What are their families? What are their careers? What are their jobs, relationships? What does everything look like? And that starts to give me a sense of what's going on in their lives. When people come in with me, our sessions usually go for about an hour and a half. And I like to deep dive. I like to get in and let's get everything cleared out. Let's get you where you need to be. Let's give you the psychic information of what you need to do next. And a lot of people, when they work with me, we go through about 3 or 4 sessions right away because we get a lot cleared. And then from there, people like to touch base once a month, every couple of months to see where they're at and if they're still aligned to where they want to be, if they're on track for their goals and dreams. So for me, what I have developed over the last 26 years on working with different modalities, I've built a team around me of guides. I have, over the years, meditating and working on different people, I can feel energy presence come to me. And with their guidance, they usually help me be able to tune in and figure out what's going on with someone. I don't have a name for them. I don't have a collective name, but I can feel guidance around me all the time that are helping me assist in what is in that person's highest and greatest good. There's energy all around us, right? There's energy everywhere. And what I find is there's different levels to it. And I like to think of us as like being a CB radio. And as we tune the channel, we can tune into different information. So sometimes when people start out being psychic, what they'll do accidentally is make the mistake of like going into your energy field and reading you. So if you ask me, hey, I just applied for this new job, I really want it, am I going to get it? If I turn my CB radio to just your energy, I could pick up that you're worried, you don't feel good enough or worthy enough or low self-esteem. And I might accidentally read you that, sorry, no, you're not going to get it because I'm reading it from your energy. But when I tune into what I like to call the light or the universal current, what happens is that I can hear the truth. I can hear, that's where I psychically tune into this higher vibrational current, and I can feel, oh my gosh, yes, you can have this job. Yes, you deserve this job. Let's talk about what you need to do during the interview. And that helps make the process so much easier. And it's really encouraging and empowering to people because we override those simple little blocks that stop them from getting to where they want to be. And so when you tune that CB radio, there's also angels you can tune into, there's guides you can tune into, there's so much energy out there. But when I'm working one-on-one with someone, I like to make sure I am connected to source light. And for me, I've practiced it for a long time. And so now I can tell when I'm tuned in and clicked in and when I'm a little bit off on possibly another energy. You know, if you've been to the doctor and there's no answers, but you know you're having a chronic pain of some sorts, that is the hardest place to be. And I've experienced that a couple times in my life. And that's part of my healing journey too, is I had to look outside normal medicine to figure out a different way to try to heal this. And so when people come in with a physical ailment, you know, like, oh, an upset stomach, you know, you're constantly in pain in your stomach or you have other issues going on. What I like to do is as I tune in, I bring in the light, and then I am able to remote view into your body. Part of what I learned through theta healing was intuitive anatomy. So we had to practice going into the body, knowing all the different systems of the body, the cells of the body, the tissues of the body. And we had to practice in that class scanning random strangers over and over and over again, just so we could really feel what the body is. So when someone comes to me, the first thing I like to do is, of course, I go into the physical body and I'm going to start looking. I have a checklist I like to go through. I'm looking for everything and anything that could be causing that gut pain. Is it bacteria? Is it yeast? Is it fungus? Is there inflammation? Is there an actual, is there hernia? Is there something else going on that we're missing? And then if it is a physical issue, I'm able to hold a current on the area. And I'll give you an example. One lady, she called me 7:30 in the morning. She was on their way to the ER. She was in terrible pain. She was in excruciating pain. And she's like, Annie, can you please help me? She pulled over. And what I did is I just said, let me just scan your body. So I started at the top or the bottom of the stomach, and I just started scanning all of her intestinal lining. And I came to a part where it curved and I could feel this like intrusion. And when I started to ask the body, what was that? It was swollen. It was diverticulitis, but there was the intestine had swollen and was creating a block, creating a lot of pain in the body. So what I did right away is I held a current of energy. And the best way I like to describe how I feel this energy, it's like electricity. There is a current, and quantum physics is teaching us more and more and more that there's a current, there's an energy running through everything. And if you ever want proof of that, check out Kirlian photography. They have a way now, they have equipment where they can actually photograph our energy fields around us, and it's really awesome. But what I did is I held this energy on that spot, and I just held it there. I was guided, hold the energy. And I just waited and waited. It took about 45 minutes. And she's like, the pain is lessening. I kept saying, okay, what do you feel? What do you notice? And she could feel the pain decrease as I was visually watching this part of the intestine go back to its normal shape. So within 45 minutes to an hour, she says, I feel so much better. So she went home. She was able to eat again. She was able to use the bathroom. And by the next morning, everything was completely better. So that's just one example of how I help with physical issues in the body. But every once in a while when someone comes in, if I scan in the body, you're having a gut issue, and I scan, sometimes the body's okay, It could be a mental or emotional or spiritual block. And so that's where I bring in some of my other tools and I look, okay, are you taking on energy from someone else? Do you have anything that's frustrating you? And so I look at all these different, I'm able with all my training to look at different areas of your life that need to shift to get the pain out of your body too. So sometimes that's not physical. Sometimes it's emotional pain, it's old trauma stored in the cells. And so I'm able to work on all of those different issues too. When I'm working on someone, there are sometimes, I just had a lady this week, sometimes energetically, if someone betrays us or hurts us, it leaves a psychic wound. There's a wound. I can actually feel like a cut. Sometimes I feel shrapnel from where someone has betrayed us or hurt us. And there are times I am trained in past lives too. If your soul still holds the trauma, then we need to pull the energy out of your physical body and help your soul heal it as well. So sometimes it's just as simple as pulling out the betrayal of that past life, the hurt, the pain, and then I pull out the negative. Sometimes it looks like tar to me. I just pull out the negative energy until my guide said, okay, it's gone, and then I fill it back in. And I bring in a whole bunch of light. Almost, we're psychically stitching you back up. We're filling you in with light. We're putting a Band-Aid over it. And that light, people, when they're with me, they can feel it in the moment while we're doing it. And sometimes the energy takes 2 or 3 more days still to work on, but then the pain alleviates and goes away. You know, I love to help people. When I was young, I didn't understand why this was happening to me, and I didn't understand what it was for. And being an empath, it is very hard when you feel energy and you don't know what to do with it. And feeling other people's symptoms, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I went to the doctor and I'm like, got migraines, and they're like, you're fine, all your blood work is fine. So I had to learn that, was this mine or was it someone else's? And as I started to learn and discern all this information about energy and what was mine and what was I feeling from somebody else's, I promised myself that I would never let anybody else experience what I did, because it was so painful at times. I thought, if there is other empaths out there, I don't want them to ever go through what they went through. And also, I've been there where I've had, there was one time, this was in my 20s, I got really sick, really, really sick. I lost 30 pounds in 2 months. I couldn't keep anything in. I was very, very sick. And I saw 2 doctors and 5 specialists. I guess they're all doctors, but 5 specialists. And the 5th one said, Annie, I know you're not well. You don't look well. I see that you're sick, but all your test results are coming back that you're 100% okay. And I was devastated because I didn't know how to fix this. There was not a pill. There was not a surgery. There was nothing that they could find wrong with me. So that's when I dove in even more to figure out, okay, what else is causing this pain? And in that period of my life, I was in a marriage I wasn't happy with, and I was working a job I absolutely hated. I didn't fit the bill. It just wasn't me. It just wasn't me. And I just kept trying to push through. And it was actually that doctor who said, I think you need to look at your environment. And I was like, what do you mean my environment? And he said, what stressors are around you? And that was like, whoa, okay. And when I really acknowledged to myself, I'm not okay, I'm trying to push through this, I went out and I got some professional help first. I got some therapy and counseling. And then I learned how to shift my emotions, my thought processes. And from there, I went and got a new job, got a divorce, and my body felt 10 times better. So it was going through that in my 20s, it was such an eye-opener. But I know there's so many people out there that they're in physical pain, and I know it hurts, it sucks. And I just want to provide maybe an alternative way of what we can do to help you. And if it's not me, let me point you in the right direction of other healing modalities out there or other places you can go to try to find some answers to help your body feel so much better. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would want to tell her that, first off, it's okay. It's going to be okay. And I would want to tell her and empower her that I think as an empath, I wanted to make sure everybody was okay around me. And I was putting everybody else first. And I would want to tell her, hey, stop, pause. Because when I work with people, the signs are there. The signs are there. We know something's not okay, but how many times do we push through and keep going? And it's all right. Yeah, my knee's starting to get sore, but it's okay. Let's keep going. And your body is such a magnificent tool. It is giving you signals the whole time about what's going on in your world. And I would want to tell my younger self, hey, before it gets this bad, listen to your body. You know you're not okay. Go ahead and make the changes. It is okay if you don't have a marriage that lasts 50 years. It is okay if you're not happy with the career you picked, you can change it, right? We always think, oh, we're going to stick it out. I want 40 years at my career and retire. It is okay to make those changes. Do what makes you happy. So the ways that I like to help people, healing is my number one passion, but I also am trained and certified to help people in other ways. So if you're having a lot of relationship issues, and that can be with parents, siblings, coworkers, your spouse, your partner, if you are in a relationship and you're just really struggling, it's hard, you're feeling defeated, you feel like you're not being heard, I also like to help people go through and take a look at that. And what I do in a relationship, if you have relationship issues, is I look at the dynamic. I see an energy between two people. And every once in a while, I need to clear the energy between people because we've accidentally projected all our negativity on each other. And it's as simple as, you're at home and someone comes home from work and they're like, oh, I had the worst day. And you're like, well, tell me about it, because we care and love about them. And they tell you the story, right? And then pretty soon you're upset, you're frustrated for them, and they feel better. Have you ever noticed that? They feel better and they just walk away and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get in the shower. And that is a good example of an exchange of energy. Even though you're just talking, that person had a bad day and it popped right over onto you. There was an energy there. So when I'm looking at people, I'm looking at this current between your two auras, what's happening, what's going on. Sometimes I need to reset both of you. Sometimes there's old karmatic ties that we need to clear or past lives that we need to heal up. But I like to see what we can do to help everybody realign and bring themselves back to that loving space. I also like to help people with money. That was one of my favorite things I love to study, is abundance and money and wealth. And I took a whole bunch of courses on that. And the fun thing about money is it is energy. And when you start to look at money as an energy, it makes things so much easier. I had a woman come to me and she's like, I'm just feeling really meh. She's like, I feel like I don't have my mojo. And she's running her own business. And she's like, I'm not sure I'm really enjoying it. And I want to take it to the next level. And she's doing all the right things. So psychically, I'm like, there's nothing else I need to tell you different. You're doing great. She's like, but why do I feel so bad? So what I did is I tuned into her psychically. And I felt this energy behind her. And I'm like, I think we need to talk to your ancestors. And she's like, okay, she didn't expect that, because we can also pull in energy through our DNA from our ancestors. And we went back and we found that she had an ancestor that tried to do his own business and it didn't turn out well. So we did this psychically. I took her on a journey where we tuned into her body, she tuned into her DNA, and we allowed her ancestors to have a voice. And they were scared for her to have her own business and afraid, what if she loses it all and maybe you can't? And that stuff gets programmed into our DNA. And side fun note, even though the Great Depression was how many years ago now? A long time. I am still clearing energy out of people who are trying to be successful because somewhere down the line, their great-great-great-grandfather got hurt in the Great Depression. They lost money, they lost their home. And when I go back and feel that, what I do is I bring in a healing. I help settle the souls of the ancestors and let them know they're okay. And then I bring in a healing for the person's DNA so they know that they can move forward and do what they need to do. And after this woman, she talked to her great-grandfather, I think it's great-great-grandfather. After she talked to him, all of a sudden her joy, her light, she just turned right back on. And she's like, okay, I've got this. And so energy can come from anywhere. Our body has an amazing consciousness and it tells us so much. And sometimes trauma we'll logically know, hey, we're okay. But if something traumatic has happened, it can stick in your stomach and there can be that fear or pain. And a lot of times I have to go in and pull out the emotional pain. And I call it going back in your timeline. So if you've had something from your childhood, the process I use is we'll take whatever pain or symptoms in the body. I'll have the person help me identify what age that pain came in. And then I will timeline jump back to their younger self. And I'll start doing a healing on that 3-year-old, that 5-year-old, that 10-year-old. And I will hold light until I can feel that aspect of them, that inner child, start to relax and know they're okay again. And as I'm doing that, a lot of times people will start to feel the symptoms just dissipate as we're sitting there. And so it's really a wonderful process to help when you don't know what else to do and that trauma is still stuck in there, because it can limit us, right? It can make us, if we have so much anxiety, we might not go for our goals and dreams, and clearing that makes such a big difference in people's lives. I think we all have the ability to develop any of the psychic gifts that we want to. So I feel a lot, but what I've worked on is learning how to see images. I've worked on hearing, so I'm able to hear my guides really well. And now when I meditate, I can hear a hum in the background and I know I'm hearing the energy around me. So if you go very still, you can hear it and you can practice hearing that vibration. And then I've also built my, I call it my psychic dictionary, and that's my knowing senses. So what I would get at first is symbols. And then I would ask, okay, what does that symbol mean? If I'm working with someone and I see a book, what does that mean? And so for me, it's knowledge. It means they have the knowledge of how to do this. And I know when everybody just practices, it takes practice. And if you can have fun and play with it, you can develop your intuitive gifts very quickly. What I would want to tell anybody out there who might be empathic and they don't know, have you ever walked into a big room and felt super uncomfortable? Or have you ever come home from work and been so drained and there's not really a reason why? Or do you have a hard time going to like concerts or big events where there's a lot of people? Those are all clues that you're probably empathic. And what that means is there's so much energy around you and you're very sensitive to it. It can feel very overwhelming at times. And a lot of people will start to limit their lives because of all that energy. And I want to tell all those people you're not alone. There are tools, there's solutions to help you so that when you go in a room, you can feel completely comfortable no matter who's there. And it just takes a little bit of practice, but I want you to know that you're not alone and that there are solutions. I think one of the biggest things, that misconceptions around psychic, is that we have control over you or that we can make you do something that you don't want to do. That's not at all how it works. You are your own sovereign being, and we are here just to provide insight. And you know what? All the time, I know when those people come, most of the information is already in there. People already knew what they needed to do, or they already had an inkling of what they were looking for, but sometimes using a psychic just gives you a little bit of extra information, maybe courage, maybe coaching, just to help you get where you want to go. But truly, every single person is psychic. After working with so many people, I believe we are all here to learn lessons and evolve our souls. And it's not always easy. It can be very challenging. And when I work with people, I like to help them find the path of least resistance. You know, I like to have them really take a look at their life and what's going on and try to look for patterns. A lot of times I will see patterns in their lives. You know, I'm sure you've heard this saying, I married my mom or I married my dad. And I look for patterns in people's lives and I say, okay. Or I will have someone say, gosh, I've been fired 3 times now from 3 different jobs. And I like to go back into those patterns and say, okay, what's going on here? What is your soul trying to learn? What is your soul trying to tell you? What do you need to do? And what do you need to embrace so this doesn't happen again? And sometimes coming in for a reading will help just give you some information and the tools to help shift and change that so you can move forward and not have to go through those hard experiences anymore. What I would want to tell anybody who is maybe a little curious but nervous coming to try all of this out or going into the woo, I would want to tell them that it is an amazing light. And really, when I'm doing this, I feel more connected to God than ever. I have found whatever whatever you want to call it. You may call it universe, spirit, light, source, God, whatever you want to call it. It's the same electrical current through all of it. And so if you even have a little bit of like, maybe I need to check this out, come find somebody and sit down, come have a session and just see. You're being called, you're being nudged, you're being directed to go get some extra help. And sometimes what I like to say is when the energy is coming in, it's like a prayer on steroids. So I like to bring in extra light, extra current to just help whatever needs to be done for somebody. What I'd like to tell people, if you're stuck, if you find yourself in the same pattern or experiencing the same pain over and over and over again, I don't want you to feel hopeless and like there's not a solution. There's other avenues out there. There's so many different modalities and healing because we're all wired differently. So give it a try. Don't hesitate. Even if you've had the same pain all your life, even if you've had a chronic backache for 30 years, go seek help. It is okay. Go give it a try because what you've been doing hasn't been working, but that doesn't mean there isn't healing out there for you, that it is possible. So I want to encourage you, don't feel like you just have to put up with it. Let's find a solution for you. My name is Annie Bryceson. I'm a healer and an intuitive coach based out of Spokane Valley, Washington, and I love to work with people anywhere in the world.